10. And well, let's get started. So thanks for joining. Today's a listen only. If you're not on mute, then please mute your mic so that whatever backgrounds. I know my dog sometimes will come in and bust in and whatever. But you may have other children or other people that may, and that's all okay. We're on this type of media nowadays. Anything, as you know, can happen. And I've done enough of these. I almost have book material now on all the hilarious things that have happened just so far, just doing this. I can't imagine if somebody does this every day. But so this is about what I'm going to do is about a 45-minute introduction sort of thing to the discovery fidelity scale. Usually what would happen in person. And what that enables to do is to then shrink about a 5.5 hour DFS meeting to 2.5 hours, which is what you'll be on. And that's because, as you might guess, far less questions because we're in a much smaller group of just 3 or 4 of us in each one of the groups. And it's worked really well. In fact, we have some data that shows there's a lot of factors here, but all this process, we're keeping a lot of data that may be working superior. That the idea of me saying these sort of things to 25 people at once, it looks like saying these sort of things and having interaction with people in groups of 3 or 4, even though it's virtual, maybe a superior way to go about at least getting this concept across regarding customized employment and discovery. So. This explained the process. So those of you that are here today are going to become DFS administrators. And here's the process to be a DFS administrator. It's today's meeting of 45 minutes, and then it's either Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday's 2.5 hour meeting. Then we don't see each other for about probably, given the COVID, usually it's, I say 4 months, but given the COVID, it's been more like 6 months. So about 6 months from now, we'll see each other again. And that'll be a Q&A session where, like, how's things going? Are referrals moving? What's going on with that? And it'll be in the same groups that you're in for the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. You'll be in that same group of people that'll be there. We'll be there too. With one big exception: employment specialists or job developers, whoever's doing the discovery product, they will be invited too. So it doesn't mean everybody's invited to that's doing that, but what we typically have is 2 or 3 additional people on. So although we're in groups of 3 or 4, that will likely move us to groups of 6 or 7 for that Q&A. And it usually lasts about 2 hours, and it's the people just found it invaluable. First of all, it kind of gets us, oh yeah, that's right, it's been 6 months. Oh yeah, that's right, we have this customized employment discovery fidelity thing that we're working on, because y'all got day jobs. I understand that you got a lot going on, and want to be sure that that customized employment gets at least some attention. Following that, what will happen is we'll have remember, this is all a research project, and I'll talk a little bit about fidelity. But following that, what will happen is at some point, a completed discovery staging record, vocational profile, or some document that represents discovery that is worthy, that at least pretends to be worthy of payment, will land on your computer or on your desk. And it's like, okay, here it is. Here's the discovery staging record. Here's what the product is. Is this good? Is this not good? Should I pay for this? Is this what it is? And that's when the immediate first words first thing in your head you need to think about is, I need the discovery fidelity scale to find out. And so what you'll do is you'll email me or you'll email Russell, and that's all available at some point in this process. And you'll say, hey, I got a live one. I got a completed discovery done. I want to apply the discovery fidelity scale to it. As soon as I get that, I'll send it to Dr. Tim Reeson at Utah State University, who is collecting the data from 13 states now, are doing the same process that you're doing. And then he'll then send you a scale online. So there it is. Oh, got it. Okay, excellent. And then you'll fill out the scale how you think it should be. Should this be a 1, a -1, a 1, a 2, or a 3? And based on what you know so far from today's meeting, tomorrow or the next day or the next day's meeting, and from that, you'll make a decision about what that is. The good news for Florida is likely that before you actually have a product that you're going to review, then the long-awaited DFS manual will be in your hands. So and I mean long-awaited. I won't go so how many months that's taken to do, but over a year. But anyway, we have a manual now, so you'll have a product in your hand. I think last time I looked, it was about 109 pages, but you'll have a product in your hand. It's a user's manual. Now, I just want to say that if any of you have any difficulty sleeping, I know this COVID time is disrupting sleep. Anytime you just pop out that user's manual, you just start reading that, I guarantee you, you're out for the night. So no more Ambien, you're set with the user. But otherwise, what it is, it's not to be read from front to back or anything like that. It just says, hey, I don't know, is this a 1 or a 2? I don't know which one to mark. Open the user's manual, you'll see here's more explanation of it, and then here's more, here's some examples. Oh, okay, when I see 1, here's examples for 1, and this is example for 2. Oh, now I understand. Okay, this should be a 2. Yeah, you'll see what those differences are. And I'll talk a little bit more about the scale later. So you'll send it back to Dr. Reeson. As soon as you fill it out, you'll hit a button, send it back to him, and sure enough, boom, another one will pop right back in your email. And you're like, wait, I just did this. Do not fill that one out. That's the one we do together. Because as soon as you sent that to Utah State, it actually came to me too. So it comes to me, and then I will then contact you. I'll write to you and say, hey, when is convenient? We need to have a meeting to go over the scale. And what that is the reliability portion. It means that someone doing the same thing that you're doing in Rhode Island or in California or Virginia or Iowa or Missouri or all the other different places that we're doing this with, then are having the same answers. And the reason why they are, because you're working with me for those answers. In other words, it's the interpretation. The reliability part is that a mutual interpretation of what the tenant was meant to stand for. So with that, we'll modify it. We'll change some of your original scores. We'll change some of those, and then that's the official one. It'll go in back to Utah State, and then you go about it, and the person, customized job development comes along. The person gets a job and they work. All the things that's supposed to happen, or not happen. And then about 6 months later, aha, here comes something else from Dr. Reeson. And what it is what happened? How much money are they making? What kind of job they get? Are we still getting people in low-skilled jobs? Are we just getting people at big box stores? Are we getting people in places that people have always gotten in? Are they making any money? Are they making the same money they always were? In other words, is this worth it? What's going on? Are we getting the outcomes of that? And then also the tenants, the 15 tenants and the really 60 different variations of those tenants that are in the scale. The question is, are they right? And from that validity, we'll be able to find that some of those tenants are like, we don't need this tenant. Look, it's not holding up. This seems to not correlate with an outcome. Oh, these tenants do correlate with outcome. In fact, these 3 or 4 or 5 together are the bomb. Wow, that really makes a difference. And then not, these others don't. So people often say, well, not often, but sometimes say, well, you can't do this. It's going to be a -1. We want all the data, because again, -1 data is very useful because it shows it should correlate with people not doing as well, so that's it. So this is a part of a research project, because here's what the deal is, folks, is that we've always had a lot of smart people. We've had smart people that say, you should do this. We had powerful people that are bosses that say, you will do this, and because I'm saying that you should do this, and if you like working here and you like the salaries you're getting, then you're gonna do what I ask you to do. Because we can be either authoritarian way, or it could be a convincing way, or it could be a educational way, all kinds of way. Everybody has an opinion that they want to get across, and some people are in more powerful or more well-known positions. Some of those people are like Kerry Griffin and Mike Callahan, people who began customized employment. They have their opinion of what should happen. I'm sure Richard Bluking at Transcend and some other people have done this, have opinion. I'm sure the folks down at South Florida have their opinion. Everybody's got an opinion of how should we go about doing discovery? Well, what we're doing is different. And this goes across about everything in life as a little detail, is that we're actually taking the data. In other words, what does the data show? What is a reliable, valid, an internal review board of university approved research protocol? What does it say about what we're doing? And so so that's what we're doing. It's not Steve Hall's opinion about what should be. These tenets were developed from the field. What everybody thought is what Kerry Griffin thought, what Mike Callahan thought, what every single document related to discovery thought, and the combination of what happened in really, what do people who are doing this work think. So then same thing with the job development fidelity scale. That is finished. That's hopefully at some point you all will say, yeah, we've got through the discovery fidelity scale. We've implemented it long enough. Let's try the job development fidelity scale too, and then as some states have, and then what will be done, probably not till March actually out, will be what's being called the consultative training and support, or better known as job coaching fidelity scale, in which what's got to happen there. Again, same way, same process, same focus groups of people who do the work, interviews with those folks, Likert scale with people who have differences. So that's the research process. Why we're doing the DFS is because counselors said, I got this. Here, look at this. Here I have a discovery product here, and I got a discovery product here. Look at this. They don't even look remotely alike. Which one's right? Which one should I say, oh, that's good, and which one should I say, oh, that's not so good? This needs to be redone. Well, VR counselors wanted guidance with that. People who were supervisors, which some of the folks that'll be with us these 4 days, or be, and some of you, are people who are providers of services and are supervising people who do this work, whether job developers or employment specialists or vocational rehabilitation specialists, whatever the title may be. They want to know what is most likely, what are the key things we got, despite, because the discovery fidelity scale doesn't cover everything that somebody like Russell Sickles or a Doug Crandall or Patty Cassidy or Corey, or Smith, or all those folks might teach us about that, who are, again, GHA associates.
We're Nancy. Nancy's on here.
And Nancy, are you on? Oh, that's right. You're supposed to call in. Yeah. Or Nancy Brooks.
I am on.
Yeah.
Good morning, Nancy. Everybody.
Nancy, I want you to know, I usually say your name in states that you've probably never even been in before, just to know
that. Steve, you are doing fantastic. Okay. Don't worry about that.
Thank you. Anyway, don't want to ever get in trouble with a colleague, particularly not Nancy, considering her competence, to say the least. So anyway, and if anybody ever tries a match wits with her, which I've tried before, don't try that. No, you'll come out on the wrong side of that. Okay, thanks, Nancy. anyway, so reliability and validity. So, some of you know my background. I was a state director. I was a state commissioner, mental health and IDD and substance use. I've, was a president of the National Association of State DD Directors. In other words, I was in all president of the Association of Providers of Colorado. In other words, I was in all kinds of positions where I got sued. Okay. So with that said, what's important, and by the way, never lost a lawsuit, never once, because of what we're talking about. Because a long, long time ago, I happened to get with the right people that said, when you go about doing something, don't do it based on opinion, don't do it based on power or authority, do it based on evidence, what is the research showing. So that's why we're doing this. So, and what's unique is that part called scale. So you got fidelity, which means we're going to do things to what looks like have proven results and when done in a certain way. But then the scale part, and this is really interesting, because when I talk with Mike Callahan and Kerry Griffin and those folks, their point of view is people just do what I tell them to, it'll work out good. I mean, it's just real simple. Here's the right way and here's the wrong way. And I talk to them about degrees of correctness. And they're like, well, I don't think we recognize that, Steve. Well, that's what the scale is. It says that there is certainly the ways not to do it. And that usually gets us a score of -1. It says, don't be doing that. If you are doing that, do whatever, and particularly when we get to the policy areas, which are tough, right? The policy areas are above all of our pay grades, right? So when you get to the policy areas, well, let's advocate for some of that change, and let's try to not be doing that at some point in the future. So that's the -1. A 1 says that's cool that you're doing it. That's all good. A score of 2. Now here's where things get really interesting in the scale. A score of 2 says everything in 1 is true and everything is 2 and 2 is true. Now you're not checking 1 and 2. Okay, you're just checking 2. But when you check 2, that means you checked 1 also. So it means everything in 1 and everything in 2. And if you check 3, it means everything in 1, 2, and 3 are correct. And if you say, well, some of that, some of this, well, you always pick the lower one. The lower one, which is most likely to represent what is complete. So you always choose it that way. So, and then again, we have a conversation, again, of about 1 hour and 15 minutes. By the way, that first conversation we'll have, this is after we meet again for the question and answer. That first conversation, about 1 hour and 15 minutes the first time, not too painful, but still, it's a longer time than necessary. Well, it's necessary that first time. Next time, about 45 minutes, and for the next one through the next one you do, 3 and 4 when you're doing that, 25, 30 minutes, and at some point it's like, okay, we got this, and it's got this not because I just think we got it. It's got it again based on evidence that every time we meet, we're exactly on the same page. So my reliability role was no longer needed, and that usually can occur, after a couple years. I mean, that's usually what it happens. But how things are going now. Now, obviously, new impetus on customized employment discovery, that'll happen, much more rapidly. Okay. Let's see. The cheat sheet. Okay, you got a cheat sheet, right? Mailed to you. Got that? Okay, that's not for you. Well, you can look at it, do whatever you want, but who it's for is to give to the employment specialist, give to the job developer, give to whoever's doing discovery, give that to them, and say, okay, you don't just say, hey, by the way, here's the discovery fidelity scale. Just know I'm going to go through all these variables and making decisions on whether this is, if you're practicing fidelity to best practice. What the cheat sheet is, it takes every scale tenet and turns it into one single question. And so it says, and so what you can say to the person, look at these questions, and when you're doing this work that we're paying you for or asking you to do, if you're the person's supervisor, and if you're answering these questions, then you're doing the work. So just relax about it. You're in the work of doing this, because when we get back together, we'll, go over what may be the variances. But so just know that's for them. So please give that to the employment specialist and others. So it's not like, aha, I gotcha. It's like, no, here is the stuff that we're going to be looking at now.
Excuse me.
Does it work if you're doing?
Steven?
Steve, somebody had a question. Sorry.
I'm sorry. This is just I'm sorry, bro. This is a listen only today. So
I was just saying someone was locked out the lobby and was trying to join.
Oh, I appreciate it. My bad.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Sorry about that.
I stand corrected.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, no, please don't.
My bad. Thanks for helping me out. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank
No
you.
problem.
So, okay. All right. So I'll be just going through some various things on pages. If I get to pages where there's a lot of stuff, I'll let you know what page I'm on. So I'm just going through the scale. Discovery, this scale works for anybody that's eligible to receive discovery or for customized employment. So that's for, so it works in other countries. It works for people that are in school, that is that they're under 21 and still in public school or whatever school they may be in. It works certainly for adults. Interesting data. Listen to this data. It's really great. When you're collecting data across 13 states, then you're really getting data. Listen to this. Only one person in the United States that has been a part of these 13 states of this project that is over 40 years old is receiving customized employment, referred for discovery and customized employment. So what that says is the law says, of course, that there's no age discrimination. We're not just serving people. We're not just authorizing a particular service based on age, but that's not what the data says. See, that's what this is about. It's about fidelity. So it says, well, we have something going on, some kind of practice going on that's saying that either we're giving up on you if you're over 40, or you're already locked into some other service, which I suspect you already have some other service, and we're not going to go fighting providers or whatever if you're at a day center or you're in a workshop or that. So it's not being used the way that support employment was, which was seen when Madeline Will and the folks who first started support employment at the federal level said, no, this is going to be for moving people from more isolated programs, only with people with disabilities, to more integrated programs. It's customized employment is not being used that way. The other thing, in a group home, if you live in a group home, almost zero chance that you're going to be in customized or referred for customized employment or a discovery. You can speculate what that might be reason for that. I was hired by the U.S. Department of Justice and the state of Oregon, and when the U.S. Department of Justice came into Oregon for them putting everybody in enclaves, which were really just sheltered workshop, because they paid, still the same employer was the workshop, but what they were doing is just having them work off site within a person's business and paying them, sometimes sub minimum wage, sometimes regular wages, but whatever, it was still the employer of record was still whatever the industry or business was. I'm sorry, wherever the rehab people were and not. Anyway, for that lawsuit, they were found, of course, guilty of that and to move people into this. Well, the issue was the barrier was residential services. It turned out that residential services says, wait, our contract all says we do this stuff at night. We take care of people when they're home in the evenings and sleeping all night and getting them out and get them on the bus in the day. We need somebody to take care of them during the day. And so we really like those day centers. We like day centers. We like places where they're gone these many hours. And here you come in with something like customized employment, man, that could screw up our whole deal. In other words, would have staff. We're going to have to staff it during the day, and we can't do that. You don't pay us enough. Well, here's what was interesting about that lawsuit is it turned out they had a good point. It turned out that because of integrated community employment often can happen in a day, I mean, not just in a day, but in the evenings, weekends, and all kinds of other times. That it isn't just that we have an initiative like this and you can only work when other human service people are like us are mostly working. Then of course we we found that if they did have to have a few folks, which was likely the case, which was the case, not likely, was the case, then they needed additional revenue to do that. And so we provided additional, was a recommendation, and it was taken, was to provide additional resources to the residential for that difference. So anyway, just let you know, anything can be worked out, but that was a part of customized employment happening, all different kinds of times, and for people in school, by the way. Well, you can't do it while they're in school. That's okay. First of all, right off the bat, you can do obviously evenings and weekends. In other words, the only purpose of Discovery is a job. So you can get people jobs in the evenings, weekends, holidays, all summer long. So just know that's okay. And then also now, the word many wouldn't describe it, but the word some would. Some states recognize that it's just fine for vocational rehabilitation's intervention. Obviously, the 15%, all the changes that have been made for vocational rehabilitation, spending more of their resources and time with students. Well, it's just fine if that actually happens with a person getting a real job as a part of their individual education plan. In other words, it's okay for tax dollars from other sources to be spent for that time when a person's doing that. Again, that's all state policy then. So that's it. People always said, remember hearing a person say, the biggest lie ever told, now they were talking about Medicaid, not about VR, but it would apply to VR. The biggest lie ever told is that Medicaid, or in this case, or VR or whatever, is a federally is a federally guided or authorized service. It is not. All the federal government's doing is matching up dollars, taking the state match money. The state just gets match money, has put up a little bit of match money, and they get an abundance of federal funding. And it's completely up to the states. This is the United States. So the United States, with its federalism and how we operate, is it's up to the states what things turn out. So no surprise, we have 50 different versions of services. Let's see. How long? Some people were getting it done in 2 weeks. Some people were getting it done in 2 years. Right? I mean, it was all over, depending on where you might be. And a state that's as large as Florida, I'm sure that variation probably was within your state. Smaller states wouldn't have that much variation, but probably within a state as large as yours, large meaning is the number of people as yours, then as the third most populated state, then likely that was the case. So we, from all that we could tell, we thought 5 to 9 weeks. So about 5 to 9 weeks to do Discovery looked like about right. The data we're getting now says 8 to 14 weeks, but we suspect that's because there's so many new or newer practitioners of customized employment, discovering customized employment, and that is about just people that are newer, and our data sometimes is the first person that a counselor has ever authorized for discovery and customized employment. So know that that we suspect that'll creep south from 8 to 14 weeks back down to what we're thinking, 5 to 9 weeks. So just know that it's helpful. I mentioned about school. Listen to this. A supervisor, an area supervisor of a very large and heavily populated area of the United States in a particular state said this to me: Steve, you know what? I think for the first time, we're probably really doing job development. What we've been calling what we've been doing for decades job development, but it's been job finding. What we've been doing is just getting people in jobs that are where there's openings, vacancies, where there's jobs that most people don't want to do, where they're low skilled jobs. So that's a nice way to say it. That we got to get people in low skilled jobs. And a little bit harsher, it's like getting people in menial labor jobs. People don't like to do so much. Somebody has to do the work. Might as well be you. You don't have a job. It's better not having a job. It's okay somehow for us to use taxpayer dollars for you to go to one of those jobs. And then a little harsher is, to me, Steve, this looks like the food, filth, mop, and slop initiative. This is what y'all been doing. You've been placing people in jobs that nobody else wants. You've been placing people in high turnover positions, turnovers where they're cleaning, mopping, wiping, taking out trash, doing whatever types of jobs. Well, it's better, again, better than nothing. You said you want community integrated employment. Here you go. Right. Oh, by the way, anything today or any time over these next 4 days that you hear me criticizing, I have done. I didn't know it at the time, but then later found out that I was operating the largest community integrated employment program in the United States. After I left VCU, I was a doctoral student under Paul Wayman at the National Rehabilitation Research and Training Center. I became executive director of an organization, and we had 36 employment specialists working full time. I'm paying paychecks on the 15th and 30th of the month, and that paychecks have to happen, and that means I had to have a steady stream of vocational rehabilitation referrals, and I did. And so with that, we were getting about 300 people jobs per year. Back we kept IQ scores. Average IQ was 52. Average number of people working after taking data 18 months out was 72%. Wages were slightly above minimum wage, all that stuff. Again, if I know what I know today, people would have been in far better jobs, making far more money, working far more hours, a lot more successful, what I know. I trained people who were getting master's degrees in support employment at the National Rehabilitation Research and Training Center. I didn't have the tools I have today, thanks to obviously people like Mike Callahan and Kerry Griffin and all the people that work in customized employment. So it's not that. So it's not getting people jobs in that usual way. And it's not what that VR supervisor said, a job finding service. She says, we just been doing job finding. We've not been doing job development. Now this is job development. And I just touch on this just briefly, just brief. If you look at the data about, I'm just saying what the data is, If you're a white male over 50 years old with a high school education and you've primarily had a job for most of your life that's the same job and you lose that job, the chances of you ever being employed again at any job, first of all, or for sure at any job even remotely close to what job that you had, is zero. The data is devastating. It says this, that in our society, we are given, if you know white males are being given up on by our society at 50 years and older, then you can imagine what it would be like for black men, for other people that are not white, and what our society is doing. You don't have to imagine, look at the data. I asked some people, said, okay, we're all cool, right? We've been doing this work a long time. We're really good at this. So you've been doing a lot of years, yeah, doing this work. So how many black women with a significant disability do you know of that have gotten jobs? How's that? What do you think the data shows on that, huh? For those folks? And of course, it's devastating. It says clearly that that black women are not being included almost at all in many of these services, not for community integrated employment. They're usually getting shuffled to some other type of service that costs less, whatever. So if you just follow the money. It's like when I got hired as commissioner, the head of the cabinet, worked directly for the governor. She said, my first 4 hours, she says, Commissioner, let me give you some advice. People can be coming to you saying, oh, the beautiful tie, Commissioner. Oh, you look so good today. Oh, that suit. Oh, wow, that's so nice. Oh, do you get your your shirt's done someplace, no, iron them myself. Anyway, what isn't that all great?
Steve, this is Jan. Somebody got dropped from the call and is in the waiting room trying to get back in, if Russell could help them.
Okay, Russell?
Sorry about that. Thank you, Jan.
All right, thanks. So I forget what point I was going to make then.
Sorry.
No, it's age. It's age. You're sorry. That's all it is. Woo, age.
Steve, you were talking about people complimenting you as commissioner, probably to get favors.
Oh yes, thank you. Yeah. She says, well, here's my advice. Thank you, Nancy. Here's my advice, Commissioner. It's not about the money unless it's about the money, and it's always about the money. So remember that. When they say that your hair looks good today, look in the mirror, Steve. No, she didn't say that part. So just know that underlies the background. We may say other things, but it's about how we're using our resources. Okay, we got about 10 minutes to go. Let's a few more things, and then we'll get this done. And when we come back next time, we'll go right to the scale itself and right to the first tenets. Let's see. Remember, discovery is not an evaluation. It is an alternative to an evaluation. It's not a form of evaluation. I had a VR counselor say to me the other day, yeah, we do the CBA, the CBA, part of discovery. What are we talking about? The community-based assessment. Oh, yeah, that's right. We're not supposed to say that. But, I always call, she says, I always call the discovery familiar and unfamiliar activities. I call it the assessment. And it's not. It's not assessment. It's not a word. It's not another name for assessment. It's not a trick for assessment, that sort of thing. Now, does some vocational rehabilitation organizations, have they changed any of the codes? Are the codes still read like more traditional services? Yes. Is it okay to use those more traditional codes for customized employment? Absolutely, yes. Should they be changed? Yeah, when you can, please get those changed so they reflect, customized employment. But what's not okay is for your brain to go and actually start believing that it's an assessment. Nobody's being evaluated or assessed by using discovery. Discovery is the first stage of something called customized employment. Not an evaluation. Let's see. I'm on page 6, by the way. I'm just looking through the bullets to see if there's something I want to be sure to emphasize to you. Oh, just when people are out there, what you're trying to do with discovery is become with a better understanding of the person. You're trying to do that. You're trying to help the person. You're trying to understand more about who this person is. So I thought I was supposed to be getting them a job. Well, you can't get the person a job unless you actually know much better who this person is. And we'll walk through all those details that help you know who that person is. And so it's about, what the person can do, likes to do, needs help doing. It's always positive. It's not a balanced picture. Well, this is what the person's lousy at, and this is what the person's good at. It's nothing like that. It's not that. Well, that's not a true evaluation. Exactly. It's not an evaluation. It's about what folks. It assumes employment. Kerry Griffin said it this way. People say discovery takes too long. Discovery is the fastest way to a good job. You can get jobs. Maybe some of you, probably many of you have the same skills, but I know Russell or Nancy, they could get 5 or 6 people jobs with their personalities and all that they know about employment and how to interact with people. They could get 5 or 6 people jobs this afternoon. There's no question. There's jobs out there. We got jobs, but this is about getting people that are jobs that are worth doing. A job that people would want. I'll talk later about all of us, when we talk. And one thing I really emphasize, just think about your own job. None of us knew how to do our job until we got the job. And there's just and discovery and customized employment is the first rehabilitation methodology that clearly recognizes that and what that means and how that process then understands. Because you know what this is, it's a psychosocial rehabilitation process. That's what this is. It's an alternative to other types of methods. Let's see. Okay, you're trying to find out how that person learns and how they're best supported, and you'll hear me say that again and again. No part of it is job development. No part of it's job development. You know what our data shows? It shows that 1 out of 3 people, after receiving training and support from Griffin Hammis or Mark Golden Associates or whoever providing the training and support for them, 1 out of 3 people, when they go to the first informational interview, end up getting a job. Boom, end of discovery, end of all opportunities, boom, end of trying to find all the different things about that particular vocational training. It's over. They shortcut the whole discovery process, got a job, because what's known as jumping to the job. And so it ends up people like, oh, that's great, we got a job. Oh, we got a job. Oh, congratulations. Okay, what's the data show? 12, 14 months, they're back in your office without a job. Because what happened? We can find jobs. There's a job. We got jobs. We can find those. It just is a job that's going to last. COVID. So, welcome to go to the Griffin Hamlin website. Welcome to look at the webinars that are on there that different folks have put on there about what's going on. Russell and Beth Keaton did a great one about what to do during COVID times and that sort of thing. I did the 1 hour one. If you're going to look at something I did, I'd look at the 1 hour when I do what services are going to look like 2021 to 2030. What, at least my opinion of what things are going to be changing in that, based on the social changes we're going through with Black Lives Matter, all the changes where people are going to be race, or if you will, racist informed services and supports. What we're doing with integration and inclusion of people that have significant disabilities, how that obviously when you have data now that shows that if you have an intellectual and developmental disability and you live in a group home, then you're 7 times more likely to die of COVID-19 than if you're living in any other environment. Data like that kind of makes people, whoa, maybe some of our models that we got going on here of grouping people together, probably not a good idea. Know this as clear as I can say it. The IDD system and the behavioral mental health system desperately need vocational rehabilitation. People like you that are on the phone who work for Voc Rehab, we need your intervention. Because you all are focused on one damn thing, and that's getting a real job in a community that's a good one. And because of that, these systems, it's a challenge to these systems. These systems are used to taking care of people and providing an alternative to institutionalization. What you all do is say, oh, that's all good. I'm glad they're not being institutionalized anymore. That's all good. But now what's going to happen with these citizens? Who's got the answer? Is vocational rehabilitation. Obviously, you tell by the way I'm talking, yes, I did work for vocational rehabilitation, was the director of community integrated employment for a state. So, but I've also been taught it in colleges. I've, worked obviously in these other different jobs I had. All you need to know about me is I never could keep a job there. So, let's see. I think that covers all of that. And we've covered we even talked about the scale. I talked about it ahead of time about the -1, +1. I may say a little bit when we start next time about that, but I think that's it for today. Yeah, and then we'll start next time we'll start on page 9. I'll go a little bit over the scoring just a little bit, and we'll jump right in on page 10 and move on. If you could bring either a paper copy or be sure you have it on your screen. Excuse me. When I go through these different pieces and telling you about things, I'll say, here's what I've got underlined on my copy of the scale. here's what I've got underlined, or here is a word that that we've already changed in the manual. And when I get an opportunity to revise the scale, this will be the 5th revision of it, that it'll be marked out, and I'll give it to you earlier than that. So just know that if you, again, you have to have a paper copy you can do that with, or make a note as we go through it. So there's where we are. I'm looking forward to seeing you all. Sorry I'm not there. Obviously, Florida is always a pleasant place to be. Obviously, a place that I in my lifetime and my wife in my lifetime have vacationed in many times, as most Americans have. So sorry I'm not there in person, but I'll be with you though Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday like this. Russell, you have anything? Nancy, anything?
No, thanks.
Good. Okay.
Yeah, thank you, Steve.
Okay. Yeah. Sure. All right. See y'all later. Again, thanks a lot, Jan. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jose. Okay.
Talk to everybody soon.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye, Stephen. Russell.
See ya.